Hi everyone, how are you guys doing? Today our lesson will be main idea from the grade 4. First you have to log in using aplusstudent.com. You click on your name, you move on to language at the grade 4. The chapter is main idea. And the lesson is determine the main idea. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're okay. Alright, so we need to understand the meaning of main idea, okay? So the main idea is what a text is mostly about. We can simply say, so we can say that the main idea is what the story or the passage is about. So it is like mostly the most important thing in the text. Okay, so the most important idea. So it is the most important idea or the point that the author is trying to tell you about. So it could be the most important idea or a point that the author is trying to communicate with you most importantly. So you can see here that usually it is the key points that the author wants the reader to remember. So it's the key points that the author is passing to you as the reader so that you can remember. That's why it is main idea. Okay, you've done one, so we'll finish that today. So the details in a text supports, prove, or show the main idea. All the details in a text will prove, show the main idea of a text. Okay. So let's look at an example. Let's say that we have a story about a dog learning to fetch the ball. So let's say the dog learns how to fetch, how to play. Okay. All right, so let's say that we have a story, okay, about a dog learning to fetch a ball. Now, what would be the main idea of that story? So yeah, that means you would say that the main idea is the dog learns how to play fetch, okay? Because the whole story is long and then it's telling you that oh, the dog learned how to play fetch or maybe fetch a ball. That is the story, but you need the main idea of that story. So you have to pick out the main important facts, okay? So for example, let's say we have. So let's say we have a birthday party, right? And you need to write a main idea out of a birthday party. What do you think will be the main idea from a birthday party? Just imagine any birthday party you've been to, or even your own birthday party that was celebrated for you. What do you think will be the main idea of a birthday party? You can share with me on the chats what do you think will be the main idea of a birthday party? What do you think? All right, so the main idea could be we are celebrating the person. Okay, that actually makes sense. And you were celebrating the person. As you celebrated the person, what happens? You can also say that, oh yeah, it was fun. Okay, because there were cake, games, friends, there was a lot of things there. So a main idea could be like you celebrating the person who has the birthday, and also you experiencing all the fun, because a birthday party is all about celebrating the person and enjoying the party. So that's correct. Happy vows. All right, let's have like an example. Can you check? Okay, just think about like everything you did throughout today. Throughout today, Friday. What was the main idea of everything you did throughout today? Let's say you were telling a story about everything that happened today. What is the main idea of that story? Think about it and tell me. Hi. So yeah, what was like the main idea of your whole day today? So I went to daycare. Exactly. That's a main idea because that is like the most important thing that you did today. right? Going to daycare. You got a chameleon today for Valentine's. Oh, that's so nice. So, such a nice present. All right, let's look at some example, right? Let's read this passage. So we would have to read this passage. Oh, a toy one. Okay, okay, I get it. So we have this passage. We will have to read this passage and then we will have to figure out the main idea out of this passage. So it says that Earth is much more welcoming to life than Mars is. Earth's thick atmosphere helps keep the planet warm with an average temperature of 57 Fahrenheit. In addition, over two-thirds of Earth is covered by water. These conditions make it easy for all kinds of organisms to live here. Mars, on the other hand, has a thin atmosphere and is farther from the Sun. Therefore, it is much colder. Mars' average temperature is about minus 60 Fahrenheit. In addition, the surface of the planet is mostly dry and dusty, without enough water and warmth. Most organisms would struggle to survive on Mars. So now you've read this passage. What do you think is the main idea of this passage? Looking at this, what do you think is the main idea over here? So, from reading this passage, you can tell that this passage is talking about Earth and Mars. So we know that Earth, right, because the title of this passage was Earth and Mars. It's just like when you have to read a book and then you have the title. And then from that book, after you read it, you can come up with a conclusion that this was the main idea about the story that I read. So the title of this book was Earth and Mars. And from this, you can figure out that the main idea here is telling us that Earth is better than or better than Mars, okay? So you know that Earth can host us humans, different organisms, animals, but Mars is too cold and we cannot survive there. So Earth is better able to support life than Mars. So let's look at this other passage, saving water in the garden. Now let's look at this. Let's read this and see. So many people like to grow flowers and vegetables in their own gardens. They may also want to help the planet by conserving water. How can people both enjoy their gardens and lower their water use? One way is to water plants close to their roots where water is needed. Another way is to recycle water used indoors. For example, people can water plants with leftover water from cooking. Yet another way is to choose plants that don't need much water to grow. These are just some of the many ways that the home gardener can conserve water. Now, this is talking about saving water in the garden. And once you read this, you would say that the main idea is what? People can do many things to cut back on water use in their garden because a lot of people use a lot of water when they are watering the garden. They don't just water the roots, they water like all the whole flower or plants. We'll move on to the test now. All right, so we have the first question from the test. The title is Baby Kangaroos. So, a female kangaroo has a special fold of skin that forms a pouch. When a baby kangaroo or jewelry is born, it climbs into its mother's pouch. At birth, a jewelry is only about 1 inch in length. It needs to stay in the pouch so it can develop more. After several months, the jewelry has grown enough to leave the pouch for short periods. Between 7 and 10 months age, it is ready to leave the pouch for good. Now, what is the main idea of this passage? Female kangaroos have pouches on their bellies for carrying their young, or baby kangaroo stays in its mother's pouch until it's strong enough to live on its own. All right, so we have option two. So it's talking about the baby kangaroo staying in its mother's pouch until it's safe or strong enough to stay on its own. So this is about a safer bike ride. How can you stay safe while riding your bike on busy streets? One way is to protect your head with bicycle helmets. Studies have shown that riders who wear helmets are less likely to hurt their heads. Another way is to use hand signals when you ride. Hand signals show that you're planning to turn or stop. They help drivers in cars watch out for you. A third way is to obey traffic laws. Stop at stop signs and traffic lights. Use bike lanes when you can and cross streets in crosswalks. If you follow these basic safety rules, you will protect yourself while riding. So, what is the main idea of this passage? What do you think is the main idea here? All right, so we have you can stay safe on your bicycle by following certain rules. So, option one, right? Okay, great job, guys. Now, we have this one, a woman of first. So, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the first woman to be selected as the leader of an African country. A president of Liberia, she made huge improvements in people's lives. Before Johnson Sirleaf became president in 2005, Liberia was in debt and most people didn't have jobs. The country had also been divided by a long war. After Johnson Sirleaf entered office, she asked other countries for help with the debt. She made it possible for more girls to go to school. She also worked for peace in Liberia. Because of the important work she did in Liberia, she won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2011. What is the main idea of this passage? All right, so what do we have? Option two or one? So we have option 2, right? All right, good job, guys. So we have this one: small steps to a happier planet. Recycling things like paper, plastic, plastic and metal helps the earth by cutting down on trash. Yet, many people throw away their newspapers, bottles, and cans instead of recycling them. The question then is how to encourage more people to recycle. One way that works is to put recycling containers in more places. Seeing more recycling bins helps people remember to use them. Another way is to teach people why recycling is important. If we make recycling easier and teach people why it matters, more people will join in. So, what is the main idea of this particular passage? What is the main idea here? You can tell me. Option 1, right? Okay, perfect. So, the next is putting code in the classroom. All right, so computer science skills are important in today's world. In countries such as Britain, China, and Vietnam, most students learn computer programming, also called coding. However, few American schools offer computer science classes. A group called Code.org believes this should be changed. The group provides a first step in bringing computer science to US schools. They offer a service called Hour of Code. Hour of Code gives students 1 hour of free online computer science classes. Code.org hopes this program will encourage all schools to teach computer programming. So, what do you think is the main idea here? So, option 1, Hour of Code. But then, okay, Hour of Code is wrong. Why? Because it says that code.org, that's organization, right? The org means organization, offers a way for more students to learn computer science. So it's the second one. Okay. Okay, so moving on. All right, so we have this one. So this is working for the votes. What do you think this passage is all about? I want you all to read this passage now. Then tell me what is the main idea of this passage. Let's see if you can figure this out. What's the main idea here? So this is option two. All right, good job. That was a good one. So we have a new way to help the poor. So what do you think about this one? As a daughter of a wealthy Illinois businessman, Jane Addams did not have to worry about money. However, she was concerned about the poor. During a trip to Europe, Adams visited Toynbee Hall, a settlement house in London. Settlement houses were places offering free services to the poor. Inspired by what she saw in London, Adams opened a settlement house of her own in Chicago in 1889. So we have the Hull House of one of the first centers of its kind in the United States. It helped many families who had just arrived from Italy, Germany, Russia, and Greece. The center offered classes, childcare, food, and help with finding jobs. So this is option one or option two. All right, that's a good one. So this is about a symbol of freedom. You can read the passage and tell me what you think is the main idea over here. I would just okay. So what's the main idea here? So what do you think is the main idea for this particular passage? So is it the option 1 or the option 2? So he wanted the Statue of Liberty to bring freedom for the people. All right, so this is about goodbye dinosaurs. This is about the goodbye dinosaur. So you can also have a look at the passage and we can see, okay, what killed the dinosaurs? Many people believe it was an asteroid, a small rocky object that orbits the sun. However, some scientists now think that the asteroid wasn't the only cause. Long before the asteroids, volcanoes had begun erupting all over Earth. This eruption caused climate changes, killing some animals and plants that dinosaurs needed for food. The volcanoes also sent out harmful gases that killed many dinosaurs. When the asteroid hit, it caused more volcanoes to erupt and made things even worse. While some dinosaurs were killed by asteroids, many weakened or killed by volcano. So our main idea could be both volcanoes and asteroids may have caused the death of dinosaurs. Okay? So both of them could have caused the death of the dinosaurs. All right, so we have nuts and peanuts. According to many studies, eating nuts may be good for your heart. Nuts contain good fats, vitamin E, fiber, all of which are heart healthy. Some people may not buy nuts often because they're expensive, but there are many less expensive food that have the same health benefits as nuts. Peanuts, for example, are also good for your heart. Despite their name, peanuts are not actual nuts, so they are not actually nuts. They are legumes like beans. In one study, people who ate either true nuts or peanuts were less likely to die of heart disease than people who didn't. Other studies have also suggested that peanuts are good for the heart. So, what is the main idea of the passage? So we can have that true nuts are good for your heart, but peanuts can offer you like the similar health benefits. So we have the hair dryer. You can look at this passage and tell me what you think is the main idea over here for the hair dryer. So this is all about Alexandra making or creating a hair dryer. It said that a long time ago, before the hair dryer, people could not dry their hair. So in general, it's just talking about the hair dryer that Alexander created or made that made it easier to dry hair, because back then they would have to sit down under the sun or close to a stove or fireplace just to dry the hair. But with the invention, it became very easy to dry hair. So it's just a summary of saying that his invention changed a way that people could dry their hair, right? So that's it for this lesson. We have a lot of questions that you still need to answer them. I would like for you guys to take your time, and later on, if you haven't done this test, you have to try to complete the test. But you can tell me if you have any questions. If you have no questions, we'll end here for today. If you're doing this test and you still need more help, you can click on this chat button here. There are tutors available there to put you through and to help you if you need more help. All right? I hope that you all have a good weekend. Yes, bye. Bye, guys. Enjoy your weekend and see you all next week. Bye.